Hi, it's Jeff Taylor once again for Posi TV. You know the business world has been absolutely crazy the last couple of years, and my next guest, author and portfolio manager, has written a wonderful book entitled Common Sense, Getting Off the Financial Roller Coaster. Gerry Andrews. Hi, Gerry. Welcome to Posi TV.
Thanks very much. You know, you make a great point. The book has a title that kind of tells you the whole story. It's about common sense, money issues for common guys just like you and me, and the financial roller coaster that a lot of people have been on, and how to get off that roller coaster.
Now, you've been in business for a long time. You told me you've been in business since 1973.
I've been on Wall Street since 1973.
Okay.
I've been with the current broker-dealer I'm with for the past 14 years, and I'm a portfolio manager.
So you've seen a lot of ups and downs in that time. What really motivated you to write this book for an average person like myself?
You know what? I hate people talking in what I refer to as Wall Street speak. People don't want to hear about the alpha, the beta, the gamma, the delta. They don't want to hear that stuff. They just want to say, hey, I've got money. I want to make sure I don't lose it. I want to make sure that I take care of my family. I want to make sure I have enough money for retirement. That's what they're looking for. They don't want to hear the terms. They just want to make sure they do the right things.
And I was reading it last night, and some of the stories are so interesting. It's you don't feel like you're actually getting a business lesson. It's almost kind of hidden in the text in a way, some ways. I want to talk about one particular chapter. It's entitled, We Owe It All to Uncle Sam, or How to Make Sure the Government Doesn't Become Your Partner After Death. What is this chapter about?
Well, the chapter is, first of all the chapters are anecdotal.
Okay.
So I make up stories, and I make up stories that will have a conclusion. This story, there's a guy, somebody's next-door neighbor, who's a know-it-all. He knows everything. He knows how to do everything. So he decides that he's going to take care of all of his finances. He knows how to fix his lawnmower. He knows how to do basic repairs around the house, and he feels as though saving money for his retirement, he can handle that. Well, he does some really smart moves during his financial planning and on his own, but he makes a really major mistake. He doesn't think about estate taxes. That was his one basic flaw. And when he passes away, the children go to the attorney to have the will read after mom passes away. So the money passed tax-free to the mother because they were married. That's a U.S. tax law. When mom passed away, the rules changed because the children don't have what is referred to as a marital exemption, which means that all money can pass from one spouse to the other without paying any taxes.
So the government is literally like banging at the door to get this money as soon as the wife passes away then.
Right. The sad thing is that if you don't do it the right way, the government takes the money. If you do it the right way, you keep the money, and your children keep the money. And what would you rather do?
In this particular chapter, if I were to read this, I have read it, but if someone else were to read it, it's going to show you some very basic steps you can do to save and protect your money from the United States government, right?
Right. Basically, get money out of your estate, gift money to your children, gift money to your grandchildren during your lifetime, and then do some very basic estate planning procedures that an attorney and accountant can help you with.
That's fantastic. Let me talk about one other chapter, too.
Sure.
It was actually an interesting chapter that it's become something that's partnerships, domestic partnerships, of course, in the last 20 years are much more common now. It's a kind of a sad chapter. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, this chapter is about a gay couple, but it doesn't have to be a gay couple. It could be any two people that are not married, living together, that decide that they're going to live together for the rest of their lives. And that can be two sisters after one spouse passes away. Could be any relationship like that, where they want to make sure that the other person is taken care of. So what happened in this chapter is they didn't have something called a medical directive, and one of the partners became ill and unfortunately passed away. Because they didn't have a will in place, the one partner lost everything. She had no job, no money, and her partner passed away without her being able to be present. They're the kind of things that happen, unfortunately, in this society.
One of the things we talked about a while ago is there's a man who spent months planning the perfect vacation for his family, and they went on the vacation, they had a wonderful time. The wife said, "This is the best vacation I've ever had. God, I love you, honey, so much." And then he took time to spend his financial planning and retirement, and he spent like a half hour, a couple hours doing that. How do you tell people, and let's be honest, a lot of financial planning, it's not fun for people necessarily. How do you get them to take the steps to make sure these decisions are made when they can still make them?
Well, you know, it's very funny. The chapter that you just mentioned, it's a story that's very common. Guy spends 3 months planning his 2-week vacation to Florida with his family to go to Disney World. After they get there and they come back home, everything was perfect. And the wife was so excited. She'd say, "Honey, I really love you. Thank you so much for doing this for us." He then went back to the office and they changed their 401k provider. He went into the meeting. He spent 15 minutes making decisions that would affect the 30 years of his retirement. When you ask why don't people do it, people don't do it because it isn't fun. It's something that they don't like to think about. It's what I refer to as the ostrich mentality. They like to stick their hand in the sand, their head in the sand, and forget about the important things that they have to think about.
That's pretty tough for all of us. Average guy like me, I'm out in the street. I pick up your book. What do you think this is going to help me right off the bat?
It's going to depend on what's going on in your life, because there's chapters in there about people that have disabilities. There's chapters in there about people that don't properly plan for their retirement. There's chapters that talk about credit card debt, people losing their homes, all the types of issues that go on today. So it really depends on where you're coming from.
Okay. If there's a couple of words you could say to just people listening, watching right now, what would be some business quick advice you could give them?
Basically, in my last chapter, when people do emotionally get involved in the market, what I refer to as the roller coaster actually shows graphically the emotions that people go through. They don't want to buy when the market is going down, and they don't want to sell when the market's going up. That's the absolute reverse of what people should be doing. People should buy when it's low and sell when it's high. But because of their emotions, people just can't do it. So what I have done is I've devised a strategy that's explained in the 12th chapter how I take my losses early. I was in the currency market for over 20 years, and one rule that we made is if you make a mistake, get out right away. So I have a 10% discipline. If a security that I own goes down 10%, it's given a week to cure. If it doesn't go back up, it has to go out.
Okay, now you mentioned that. We were talking in the break room about gold seems to be on every single radio station now, and you were also saying that, well, there's no way you can lose money in real estate. What advice would you give to somebody who said, I want to purchase a bunch of homes or I want to get into the gold market? How should I start this?
Well, when you start hearing everybody saying that they want to buy something, if you remember 7 years ago, people said they couldn't lose money in real estate. Today, people think they can't lose money in gold. I remember when gold was $821 an ounce. That was in the 1980s. It then went down to under $200 an ounce, and it's now back up to $1,000. Basically, you could have put your money in a 1% savings account over that same period of time. Probably had more money.
Fascinating. Well, my guest this afternoon has been Gerry Andrews. He has written just this wonderful book, and I'm not just saying that. I actually read the book, and it's very, very easy to understand. It's called Common Sense, Getting Off the Financial Roller Coaster. This book is also purchasable at, where were you selling this book right now?
Well, you can go onto my website, financialrollercoaster.com, or you can also buy it on Amazon. It's Kindle ready, and we hope to have an audio tape out soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Gerry Andrews, Common Sense, Getting Off the Financial Roller Coaster, and who doesn't need that? Jeff Taylor here for Posi TV.